Most people are so focused on getting ahead with their money and actually just making money that they don't realize that their very actions are the things that are keeping them broke. And in this video, we're going to talk about the secret to not being broke. Welcome to this episode of the Affluent Entrepreneur Show, and I look forward to seeing you in the show. All right, so what is the secret of not being or going broke? This is an interesting one because here's the thing. We're all thinking about how do we create wealth, but yet sometimes we don't think about how do we make sure that we protect ourselves from the downside, from ending up making bad decisions that cost us so much that we end up broke. Now, let me be clear. Broke is a money set. Poor is a mindset. So broke is something that can be fixed. It's mechanical. It's money. It's money in and out. We'll fix that. But if we have a poor mindset, we can't do anything about the broke part until we fix the mindset. So just putting that aside, let's just understand that what we're talking about is the money element here and how to kind of steer clear of being broke. All right. And so one of the first things to understand with respect to wealth and wealth creation is that, and let's look at it this way. It has nothing to do with money. It's behavioral, not mathematical. Okay. Your wealth creation is behavioral, not mathematical. In other words, we don't have money issues. If you're feeling money pain right now, the reason, the money pain that you feel is a symptom and not a problem. It's a symptom of your behaviors. And I get this. I get that might be a little more confronting to say that because then you have to take responsibility. But it's a symptom of your behaviors, your habits, and your decisions. It's a symptom of the behaviors, habits, and decisions. How did I lose 1/3 of my net worth? In a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, I could say that he stole it from me, but who gave it to him? The loss was a symptom of a behavior and a decision that I made. Now, the loss caused me to change my behaviors, change my habits, and change my decisions in the future so it would never happen again. But once we understand that wealth and wealth creation is behavioral and not mathematical, the beautiful thing, the challenging thing is that you have to then accept responsibility of the fact that you might have had something to do with where you're at. But here's the beautiful side of it. Once you do that, it also means you have absolute control of where you go from here. You can change it by changing your behaviors, by changing your habits and changing your decisions and making that happen. So here's the thing. How do you keep from going broke? How does this help? Is it by examining the behaviors that are eroding your money, that are causing the money issues that you feel, the money pains that you feel. What are the behaviors? What are the habits? And what are new choices that I can make to shift those behaviors and change those habits? If you make new choices that change the behaviors, you'll get new symptoms. And hopefully those symptoms are good symptoms. But too often we think that being broke is the fact that, well, I don't make enough. Really? Is it because you don't make enough? And maybe it is. Or is it because we spend too much? Is it because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses? Which, by the way, Joneses are broke. Or is it because we keep comparing ourselves to what's going on social media and we say, oh, look at that. I want to have that kind of life. No, you don't. You don't want those false facades that are out there on social media that seem like they're perfect. And we all know they're not perfect. So we want to examine our behaviors. Now, like I said, this could be confronting. But when we look at our behaviors and we start to build the behaviors of the wealthy, it'll keep us from going broke. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't go broke. There's plenty of wealthy people that go broke. I lost 1/3 of my net worth, but I was able to rebuild it by changing my behaviors. Rebuilt it by 3x So we recovered it and did 3 times that within 18 months by shifting the behaviors, by understanding that it was decisions, habits, and behaviors and not money and not mathematics that caused it. So that's number one. Number 2 is environment. It's environment, okay? Here's the deal. Financial smarts are caught, not taught. They don't teach it in schools. Most families never, like mine, we didn't talk about money. It was impolite to talk about money. We don't have those conversations. My wife's family never talked about money. Yet, how do we get knowledge around money if no one wants to talk about it? Well, we do it through observation. We catch it from what other people are doing. Other people that never talked about money. So we need to be aware of the environment we're in. Who do we surround ourselves with? Are we surrounding ourselves with people that are in debt, living beyond their means, constantly scrambling to get bills paid, bouncing checks? Now, I'm not saying not to be friends with them. I'm just saying to be cautious about what you're observing and what you're taking from them. And to create an environment that's supportive of building wealth and wealth creation. To create and make sure that you have a peer group that has the same desires. To have wealth so they can move missions, so they can create movements, so they can have an impact, so they can live a richer lifestyle. Not because they want to acquire a bunch of stuff, but they want a deeper meaning to life. And to create that, to have coaches and mentors and people in your corner. That's what I did. I started to make bad financial decisions. I said, wait a second, who are making the good financial decisions? And how do I get close to them? How do I get around them? How do I surround myself with them? So now my observation is of a different perspective. So environment is number 2. Where are you swimming? Where are you hanging? Who are you hanging with? Okay. Number three, and I talked about this in another video, but have a cash resource plan. Here's the deal. And some people might call this a budget. I don't think it's a budget. Every dollar that comes into your life, every lira, every pound, every euro that comes into your life needs a job description. It needs an assignment. They're your little employees. Here's the thing. You are putting all the work out there to earn money. You are swapping your time, your life's blood to get paid. At some point, see, right now, you're working for money. At some point, we want to flip it. So money's working for you. And the way we do that is to tell specifically what the money is to do. So $1 may come in and that's for the mortgage payment. Another dollar may come in and that's for our groceries. But too often, money comes in, money goes out without an assignment, without a discussion, without intent behind it. And we are surprised at the end of the month when we don't have enough money. So make sure that every dollar that comes in has a specific assignment, a specific goal. This is for my investing in the future. This is for my emergency fund. This is for paying my bills today. This will keep you on track from overspending, keep you on track from getting caught in trying to compare and buy things that maybe you're only buying to show off to other people. This will keep you on track to creating wealth and away from being broke. That leads me to number 4. Number 4 is, oh man, this one's a big one. Watch the payment game. Now, I call this the payment game because it is a game. You're being gamed. They're gaming you. Here's the deal. This all started with installment plans. Do you remember that back in the day, you could buy things on layaway? You would leave it at the store, you would buy it, and you would make payments regularly. And then when it was paid off, you'd go pick it up. The payment game is another way of saying, I can't afford it today, so I will make payments on it for a year or 2 years or 3 years or longer. Now, I'm talking about lifestyle stuff. I get mortgages and that kind of thing. But I'm talking about lifestyle, a big screen TV, payments. Why do they do this? And I've talked about this before. Because when you start to create payments, you start to remove the friction from the buying decision. It's the reason when you go onto a car lot, one of the first questions they're going to ask you is this: what kind of payment are you looking for? Because if they can understand what payment you're comfortable with, they'll play the mathematical gymnastics to get you there. And unbeknownst to you, you're paying for a longer period of time and you're paying a lot more. If you don't believe me, just for fun, go to a car lot and see what they ask you. See what they ask you. The payment game can get us in trouble because a payment in isolation looks affordable. It's only $200. I can afford that. But then when you do that repeatedly and you have 200 here, 100 there, 400 there, all of a sudden you're in payments up to your ears at $2,000 and you're going, how did I get here? And now everything's going to interest and we never get ahead of it. So avoid the payment game. Avoid the payment game. Number 5, have an action plan. If I have a cash resource plan, what's your action plan? What steps are you going to take with the money? I'm going to invest in ETFs, index funds. What plan do you have that you're going to work from? We don't do it haphazardly because that's when you all of a sudden talking to a neighbor and they say, oh, I invested in crypto. Have you in crypto? You got to get in crypto because it's going crazy. And you automatically jump into crypto, which is going to lead me to the last piece of advice here in a second. But you jump into crypto with no plan, no action plan, no strategy, no nothing, and you don't know why you got in except for your neighbor telling you, and you don't know when to get out. And you don't know how long to hold or any of that stuff. Now, I'm not picking on crypto. It could be any investment. Why do you think I got caught in a Ponzi scheme? Okay. So it becomes important that you have a detailed, intentional action plan of how you're going to build wealth. We do this in the Affluence Blueprint, and we work with our people in our Affluence Masters program and that type of thing. But the key is to make sure you have an action plan in place. It leads me to the last piece of how do you make sure you're not broke or you're not going to go broke. And number 6 is stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Here's the deal, okay? Your success is in your lane. Put blinders on. I don't care what the neighbor just bought. I don't care what the neighbor just invested in. I don't care what a colleague just did. And part of staying in your lane is staying with things you understand. One of my core investing rules is to never, ever, ever invest in something you don't understand. Well, if you don't understand crypto, you don't invest in crypto. No matter how great the opportunity might be. Because if you don't understand it, that's how you're going to get lost. That's how you're going to get taken. So we don't invest in anything we don't understand. And if we don't understand it and we want to invest in it, then we go and get the understanding. We get coaching, we get mentorship, we read books, we go through training, we start to understand it so we can make an informed decision based on an action plan. Otherwise, what ends up happening is we're at the whims and the mercy of what's coming our way because we don't know what our lane is. I know specifically what investments I'm willing to make, what I'm doing to create wealth creation, and what I'm not willing to do. I have opportunities that come to me almost daily for investing and doing things, and a lot of them I turn down. Most of them I turn down because they're not in my lane. They could be tremendous opportunities, but they're not right for me. They're not right for my family, and they're not right for this time. And this is probably the hardest thing, because if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a creator, if you're we get caught with the eyes and we want to capture the opportunities. And this takes discipline to say, nope, this is my lane. This is what my action plan is. This is what I'm working on. This is what I'm working towards. This is going to get me where I need to be. Yes, this might help, but it takes me off track. All right, so just to recap, realize that wealth creation is a behavior, and it's behavioral, not mathematical. 2, your environment matters because your financial lessons are caught, not taught. So you want to make sure you're around people, peers, coaching, mentorship, and groups that will support the journey that you want to make. 3, have a cash resource plan so every dollar has a job description, knows specifically what it's doing in your life and for your future. And next was to make sure that you watch the payment game. Avoid the payment game. And then number 5 is to create an action plan, a detailed, intentional action plan that's going to move you through it. And number 6, stay in your lane, baby. Stay in your lane. So I hope that this helps. These things will keep you away from making bad decisions. There are more things that we can go through, but these foundational things will certainly go a long ways to helping you out. All right, so I hope you found this of value. If you have some questions, if things come up, do me a favor, post them in the comments, send me a DM, send me a note. Let's get them answered. Let's make sure this next year is a financial breakthrough year for you, because I truly believe that your financial independence is a birthright. We just need to understand how to go out and claim it. And until I see you in the next video or in the next episode, always strive to live a life that outlives you. Cheers.